Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Academic English course. This lesson will focus on developing critical thinking, research and academic communication skills. If you would like early access and access to worksheets that no one else has access to, please subscribe to the Patreon page and you can sign up for the course if you don't want to pay the monthly subscription. This will all be available on our Patreon page. Now, this is critical thinking and research skills and is aimed at a C1, C2 level. So we're looking for a good level of fluency in English. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to analyze arguments critically and identify bias, apply advanced academic vocabulary and grammar, conduct basic academic research, and present academic information clearly and effectively. Let's get started. Now, critical thinking involves questioning ideas, evaluating evidence, and forming logical conclusions. It requires open-mindedness, curiosity, and the ability to justify opinions with reasoning. So let's get started with the lesson. Let's talk about nominalisation. This is a useful feature in academic writing. Nominalisation means turning verbs or adjectives into nouns to make your writing sound more formal and objective. It gives an academic tone. We use it a lot in academic English because it focuses on the action or concept rather than the person doing it. Okay? So for example, instead of saying researchers discovered, we can say the discovery by researchers. Or instead of the policy failed, we say the failure of the policy. This is a small change that makes your writing sound more professional and less personal. So it shifts focus away from who did something towards the result of the idea itself, which is exactly what academic style aims to do. So let's rewrite some of these sentences. Scientists analyzed the data. The analysis of the data was conducted by scientists. Let's try again. The team decided to expand the project. Want to shift the focus? The decision to expand the project was made by the team. So here are some examples of how we can use nominalisation to shift the focus, turning verbs or adjectives into nouns, making it sound more formal. One more. The university improved access for students. The improvement of student access was achieved by the university. So a small change, but makes your writing sound a lot more professional. I'd like to take a look at evaluating evidence in academic writing. When we write reports or essays, it's not enough to just share your ideas. We need to show what we have learned, where we have researched, and give those ideas and support those ideas with strong evidence. Strong evidence is based on research or data. It's published by credible sources and supported by examples. This kind of evidence helps readers trust your argument because it shows that your points are grounded in reliable information. An example of this, at universities, I've worked at universities for the best part of a decade at this stage, citing data from a university study or a peer-reviewed journal makes your argument much more convincing than relying on personal experience or opinion. On the other hand, weak evidence. This is based on personal opinion, lacks data or reference to back up your information, to back up your opinion, and uses emotional reasoning. Phrases like I think, everyone knows, this proves are warning signs that evidence might not be objective or well supported. In academic writing, we always aim to build our arguments on strong, credible, well-referenced evidence. That's what makes your writing persuasive and professional. Now, if we have a look at academic reporting verbs, so verbs that we can use for reporting, we don't want to just copy words from reports. Instead, we use reporting verbs to show how we interpret or present the ideas that people have given us. So, for example, the author argues that online learning increases flexibility. Here, argues shows that the author is presenting an opinion or interpretation. The data demonstrates a rise in participation. In this sentence, demonstrates shows that data is provided with clear evidence or proof. Okay, so different reporting verbs show different levels of certainty or attitude. For instance, suggest and claim show some uncertainty or caution. Argue or state are neutral and commonly used for presenting opinions. Demonstrate and highlight show evidence or emphasis. And acknowledge means recognizing another perspective or limitation. So we can use these reporting verbs to help us express our ideas more precisely in professional academic writing. Let's practice using these reporting verbs. I'm going to give you the best possible answer to fill in the gap, but I'd like you to try first. The researcher that social media can support language learning. What do we think? Do you think we need to be tentative and careful? Suggests. Suggests is used when presenting an idea, opinion, or possible interpretation that is not yet proven. It's a tentative or careful academic verb. Perfect when evidence is not conclusive. We would say that social media is not necessarily conclusive, is it? Researcher thinks or proposes that social media may help, but it hasn't been proven completely. The results, strong correlation between sleep and memory. So this may be around data and findings. So we can use demonstrate. Demonstrate is used when evidence clearly shows or proves something. In academic writing, it often refers to data or research findings that make a relationship or pattern obvious. So the data shows clearly that sleep and memory are connected. What about the author? The author, the need for further research in the field. So trying to draw attention to something, we could say highlights. Highlights means to draw attention to something important. It's used when the writer or researcher wants the readers to notice something in particular, a point or an issue. The author emphasizes that there more research is needed. Okay? The article, the findings may not apply to all age groups. So you seem to be accepting or admitting a limitation. Which verb would be best for this? We're accepting, acknowledging a limitation. We could say acknowledges. Okay, it's used when a writer acknowledges or accepts a weakness, a counterpoint. It's often used in discussion or to show there's some sort of limitation in a section of academic writing. So the article accepts there are limits to the results. The scientist, that stress affects academic performance. This is a strong opinion, possibly the opposite opinion to what many people think. So we would say argues. The scientist argues. Argues is used when presenting strong opinions or positions supported by reasoning or evidence. It's more assertive than suggests. It shows confidence in your claim. So the scientist, backed by knowledge, by science, believes and defends the idea that stress has a negative impact on learning. I'd like us to read this and then we're going to go through the questions, see if you can summarize the key points. Collaboration between institutions has led to rapid growth in cross-disciplinary research. Despite challenges in funding and communication, such partnerships foster innovation. What is the main idea in this passage? The main idea is that collaboration between institutions encourages growth and innovation. What evidence supports this? Well, the passage explains that cross-disciplinary research has grown rapidly. Okay, so it's grown rapidly, even though there are challenges with funding. Okay, challenges with funding and communication, it has still grown. So this is the evidence to support the claim. This is what we want to be doing in our academic writing. We have an opinion, a view, we back it up with evidence. Let's take a look at some more grammar. Relative clauses. So relative clauses are used to add precision or detail to sentences. They allow us to combine two ideas into one clear descriptive sentence. A relative clause begins with a relative pronoun such as who, which, that, whose, where, or when. Who is used for people, which and that are used for things. The study which was conducted in 2023 revealed new findings. The students who engage in group activities develop teamwork skills. These extra clauses give the reader more information without starting a new sentence, which makes it feel more formal, more cohesive, and is a really good way of writing in an academic style. So I'd like us to combine these sentences using relative clauses. The theory was published in 2018. It changed how scholars viewed identity. How can we use relative clauses? Well, we use who, which, when. The theory which was published in 2018 changed how scholars view identity. Let's try one more. The experiment was complex. It required advanced equipment. The experiment which was complex required advanced equipment. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind, use of commas when relative clauses adds extra information. So there's no commas that are needed when the clause is essential to the meaning. What do I mean by this? So I'll give you an example. The student who completed the course passed the exam. An essential clause, we do not need a comma. So I would like you to try using relative clauses and to make your writing more academic and less repetitive. Now, if we're interrogating sources, this is a very useful skill. When we use research in academic writing, it's important to combine it smoothly with our own analysis, not just list what other people have said. This process is called interrogation. It helps your writing sound connected, analytical, and original. Rather than writing two separate sentences like Smith argues that academic writing improves critical thinking, Lee found similar results, you can combine the two into one stronger sentence that flows naturally. So we can say, Smith argues that academic writing improves critical thinking, a claim supported by similar findings from Lee. Notice how both sources appear together with a short linking phrase, a claim supported by, to show how they relate. This makes your writing sound more cohesive, shows the reader that you understand how different studies connect. Now it's your turn. Write one sentence that integrates two sources naturally. You can use linking phrases like claim supported by, as also noted by, which contrast with findings from, in line with research by. Here is my example. Johnson found that peer learning increases motivation, a result also noted by Kim in her classroom study. So why not try integrating your sentences, interrogating your sources, and then pushing your sentences together in this way. Connecting them can be a great way of making your sentences flow more naturally. And a bit of practice here. I would like us to use the vocabulary here, match it up to its meaning. So a hypothesis, Hypothesis, a possible explanation that can be tested. A hypothesis is a testable idea or prediction that a study investigates. Methodology. This describes how research was conducted, for example, surveys, so the process used to conduct research. The implication. An implication is a result or consequence that comes from the finding. It explains why research matters. A variable is something that can change. Okay, so it can change or vary during the study, such as age, gender, or test scores. Significance. Well, that leaves the last one. Significance means importance or meaning, something especially useful when interpreting results. So I'd like to encourage you to learn these terms and use them as part of your core academic vocabulary. It can really help, especially around research projects or dissertations. A little bit of grammar focus here. Cause and effect language. In academic writing, we often need to explain why something happened. The cause and what happened as a result. The effect. To do this clearly, writers use complex sentence structures with phrases such as due to, because of, as a result of, as a consequence of, therefore, resulted in. Using these expressions helps you with your writing and makes it sound formal and precise, which is essential for essay writing. So, for example, due to the increase in funding, research expanded rapidly. The lack of training resulted in lower performance. Both sentences connect an action or a condition, the cause, with its outcome, the effect. So the cause, an increase in funding, resulted in expanded research. The lack of training, the cause, resulted in lower performance, the effect. So I'd like you to practice. Write 2 sentences showing cause and effect. Some examples. Because of improved technology, data analysis has become more efficient. The delay in communication led to a confusion among the research team. Now, presenting research. When you're presenting research, clarity is key. An effective academic presentation follows a clear structure. You can start with a background and purpose. Briefly explain what your topic is about and why it's important. Present your main findings clearly. Focus on the key results or arguments. Use data or visual points, graphs, tables, or make examples about your points so it's easier to understand. Conclude with the implication. Explain what your findings mean and why they matter. This structure helps your audience to follow your ideas and can show complex information in a very clear way. This is an essential skill in both academia and a professional setting. So, bit of practice. I'd like you to deliver a 1-minute summary of a topic you've studied. When you're developing this, I want you to use these steps and make sure every element is covered. My example. Today, I will summarize my research on the impact of social media on student engagement, the background and purpose. But I also have further purpose here. The purpose of the study was to explore how online interaction influences participation in university classes. Present my findings. The findings showed that students who use discussion forums are 30% more likely to contribute in class. Okay. These results suggest integrating social media into academic learning can improve student collaboration and motivation. So there's my conclusion as well. So I would like you to try doing this, develop your own little pattern and practice using this to have a neat presentation. Common mistakes. In academic writing, accuracy and credibility are essential. So let's look at a few things to avoid. Using sources without citation, a massive no-no. You will get pulled up and called out for plagiarism, stealing someone else's work. Whenever you refer to someone else's ideas, data, or research, you must properly reference. Now, which school, university, college you're going to will have a referencing system. Make sure you're aware of it and how to properly reference. Failing to do so will be seen as plagiarism. Okay, you run the risk of getting a 0 mark, okay, being removed from the course, or being removed from the university. It is a massive issue. Always cite your sources. Overusing quotation instead of paraphrasing. It's better to show understanding by rewriting ideas in your own words than citing someone. Okay, so we want to use quotations, we want to cite someone. Let's not overuse this. Writing without structure. Academic work should have clear organization, an introduction, body, and conclusion, with logical connections between ideas. By avoiding these mistakes, your writing will sound more professional and analytical. So let's correct this mistake. Many people say technology helps learning. We can improve this. Several studies indicate that technology enhances learning outcomes. In the revised version, we removed informal language, such as many people say, and replaced it with several studies indicate, which sounds more academic. What we could do now is cite cases that back this up. If there is a study, let's name it. Let's name the person who developed that study, as shown in the 2025 study by blah, blah, blah. And we can then give more information. Okay? Let's take a look at word families. Now, in academic English, understanding word families can help you use vocabulary more flexibly, accurately, and quickly. A word family includes different forms of the same root word. For example, the verb, noun, and adjective forms. By learning these variations, you can choose the right word for different grammatical structures and contexts. Analyze, analysis, analytical. Analyze is the verb. Researchers analyze data. Analysis is the noun. The analysis revealed 3 major themes. Analytical is an adjective. She is analytical, or she has an analytical approach. Demonstrate, demonstration, demonstrative. Okay, demonstrate is the verb. So the findings demonstrate. Demonstration is a noun. The teacher gave a demonstration. Okay, demonstrative, the results. So it's an adjective. So we can say the results were demonstrative of improved student performance. Conclude, conclusion, conclusive. Conclude is a verb. The authors conclude. Conclusion is a noun. In conclusion, the study shows. Conclusive, adjective. The evidence was conclusive, leaving little doubt. These can be really useful to help with your understanding. I'd like you to have a think, practice, and make sure you're aware of how you can use these word families, these verb families. So making sure that you know how the grammar fits the word and when to use it. It can be very useful. And we've come to the end of lesson 2 in this course. Hopefully you're finding it useful. We will be coming back with lesson 3. These are available earlier on our Patreon page. So if you go to allmylinks.com/simple-ESL21, you will find links to the Patreon page where you can get worksheets, lessons, and you can get money off tutoring as well. But this is a great place to get early access to this course along with worksheets you can't get anywhere else. In this lesson, we practice critical thinking and evaluation. We've went through academic grammar and vocabulary, and we did some writing. Well, we talked about writing and integrating sources. Speaking about research findings, okay, how we present this. Part of your homework task, I would like you to write a short article, 150 to 200 words, on a topic of your choice. Focus on paraphrasing, conciseness, and academic tone. Use linking phrases such as in contrast, furthermore, and therefore. and we will catch you in the next lesson. Have a wonderful day.